The sun was setting over the quiet fields of Vestenine, a small human colony far from Earth. People were working in peace, children playing, farmers returning home. Then the sky turned dark. Huge alien ships, black and silent, covered the sun. The ground shook as they landed. No warning, no message. The Jar Dominion had arrived. They called themselves rulers of the stars. Their leader stepped out, tall and proud, with cold silver eyes. He looked at the humans like they were insects. He gave one order: surrender. The colony's governor walked forward, calm but brave. He asked for peace, for a chance to talk. The Jar commander laughed and shot him in the head. His body dropped to the ground as everyone screamed. The message was clear. Humans were nothing to them. Fear spread like fire. Families ran. Soldiers had no orders, no plan. Some people went into hiding, up in the mountains. Among them was Captain Roan, an old war hero who had once fought for Earth. He looked at the sky, at the ships, and said only one thing: they think we are weak. That night, a group of Jar soldiers entered a dark cave to chase the humans. Seconds later, the cave exploded. Smoke still rose from the broken cave as the Jar soldiers pulled back, dragging their injured with them. Their pride was hurt. They had lost lives to what they called primitive tools. But to Captain Roan, it was a message. Humans were not ready to die quietly. Up in the cold mountains, Roan gathered the others: miners, farmers, a few retired soldiers, and young kids with fire in their hearts. He showed them how to fight smart, not face to face, but from the shadows. They stole alien weapons, learned how to break their tech, and set traps in the woods. At night, they struck. A fuel supply burned, a patrol vanished, a drone crashed. Then they disappeared like ghosts. Among the fighters was Lyra, a teenage girl whose father had been taken by the Jar. She was quick, sharp, and brave. She used a slingshot to take down a flying alien drone, using a stolen power cell as ammo. People began whispering her name like a song of hope. But the Jar grew cruel. They burned farms, destroyed homes, and hurt anyone who didn't give information. Anger grew in every heart. And deep in the forest, humans prepared for something bigger. The Jar sent a giant war mech to crush the rebels. As it walked through a quiet village, the ground beneath it gave way. The mech fell into a massive hole. It screamed and burned. The trap had worked. The humans smiled in silence. The night was cold, but the fire inside the rebels burned brighter than ever. Word spread through the colony. The mech was gone. The rebels were real, and the Jar were not unstoppable. People who had once hidden in fear now came forward. Old engineers, wounded ex-soldiers, even teenagers with no training but full of rage. All joined Captain Roan's growing force. They built weapons from mining tools and broken alien parts. Wires, pipes, old batteries. Anything could be turned into a weapon in the right hands. Roan taught them how to move like shadows, how to strike and vanish before the enemy could blink. Lyra became the symbol of courage. She led a small team into the enemy's outpost, crawling through vents and tunnels. They placed homemade pulse grenades inside the Jar power cells. The grenades used scrap metal and stolen cores, but they worked. A huge blast shut down the alien shields for the first time. Roan smiled when he saw the fire in the sky. He knew they were ready. They captured a Jar soldier, forced him to send a false signal to his command base. All clear. No threat here. While the aliens relaxed, the humans moved. Through tunnels and secret paths, they entered the main Jar base under the ground. Explosives were set. Timers ticked down. No one spoke. Everyone knew. This was the moment everything would change. The ground trembled as the explosions began. The walls of the Jar base cracked. Lights went out, and alarms screamed through the tunnels. Human fighters poured in from every side. Farmers with stolen blasters, kids with handmade bombs, and engineers with machines built from junk. The Jar were caught off guard. They had laughed at the idea of a human attack. Now they were running. Captain Roan led the charge, limping from an old injury, but still holding his rifle tight. He moved like a storm through the fire and smoke, his voice calm, his eyes sharp. Lyra moved beside him, faster than anyone else, her face set with anger and courage. In the center of the base, the Jar commander waited with guards and energy shields. Lyra pushed forward, dodging fire, jumping over rubble. She faced him alone. He was bigger, stronger, covered in armor. But Lyra was faster. She stabbed his power pack with a burning pipe, and the blast threw them both. She lay still for a moment, then stood up slowly. The commander was gone. Behind her, Roan had reached the alien core. He was bleeding, weak, but smiling. He stayed behind to trigger the final blast while the others escaped. The base collapsed in a wall of fire. The Jar fleet above received a final message from their command. Humans are not weak. They are dangerous. As the smoke cleared, humans stood on the broken ground, tired, wounded, but unbroken. Children ran to the survivors. The colony had been saved, not by machines, not by empires, but by the strength of people who refused to give up. They had been called weak, but they had fought back, and they had won.